Voyageur Squadron 14, A Tale of Interstellar Seduction, by Nolan Gallagher. Who's me? Part 1, A Bump in the Wormhole. Lone Maximum noticed that his interstellar space furnace was low on calidrixian power crystals. He had purchased the furnace on the desert planet Telluria, an ironic place to find a space furnace. Still, it seemed like only yesterday he had refueled the nanoflux capacitor on the rear engine of the Hutman brand interstellar space furnace with the crystals. He'd have to stop and refuel at the nearest Borigian-Ron refueling station nearly 39 parsecs away anyway, but then reboot the whole damn Calyx portion of the main hub computer from the forward engineering deck, and still be back on board by 1600 ST. Space time. For a Malaysian nano-bead exfoliating oil massage with his personal masseuse, Amelia Spark. But for now, things were starting to get cold. Very cold. But not nearly as cold as things had gotten between him and his personal masseuse, who had retreated to her interstellar space quarters after receiving allegations of sleeping with an Armenian servant boy from an angry Lone. It had happened sometime 2 days ago around 1250 ST during a routine scrap metal analysis on the planet Armenia. They just didn't used to make them like they do now, Lone had said, looking condescendingly on the heap of outdated Class H space junk that was relayed to his interstellar space quarters via Portavision fiber optic channeling cables. He had speculations that the junk was part of a Nebula-class Calahextrian transport frigate, ferrying passengers and tourists from the planet Yarxus to the 17th moon of Dondal 17. But he had realized that he couldn't be too sure of anything these days. Part of his job contract with Voyageur Squadron had included the task of idle material relocation, a polite euphemism for space junk collection. He was obligated, much to his chagrin, to bring the junk to the nearest dispository, which happened to be located on the tropical getaway planet Armenia. It was here that Amelia had stayed overnight, and even delayed their departure until the morning, and this had particularly angered Nalone. Upon her hiring, he had only given Amelia 2 rules. Never keep me waiting, and use Malaysian brand Index massage oil over the generic Tarsonic oil. Lone had found out the hardest way possible that Tarsonic oil cleanser often leads to a skin rash. It had also made his skin more susceptible to microscopic space critters. But the reason for his anger seemed deeper to both Lone and Amelia. For one, he had persisted in calling Amelia a slut throughout the entire debacle. "I'm surprised I found you at the Interstellar Massage Academy and not on the streets of Macronesia 11, you whore," he would scream. He would never dare to admit it, but it was as if a space intruder had lit a torch deep in his loins that burned and burned for Miss Spark. This space intruder must have snuck out quickly, because Lone never saw him. Lone was brewing such thoughts through his head, and figuring out mostly how to catch this space intruder. But it was only then that Lone caught wind of a different, more deadly intruder. First, he heard the scream. It was of a voice that was etched deep in his soul. Amelia Sparks. "Computer, phase isotronic fiber optic channeling cables," he screamed. "Isotronic fiber optic channeling cables phased," came the automatic reply. "Buffer camera at 28 times the marginal zoom occupancy." "Camera buffered at 28 times marginal zoom occupancy." "Isolate camera to sector 17A1305902347122TTLZ123. Please supply access code. Access code 49231TUS-GHW1872AMKA099015829DGGS. Access code accepted. Relay phase interference to isotronic quantum disperser. Phase interference relayed to isotronic quantum disperser. Engage camera. Camera engaged. It was then that Lone saw that hideous, hideous sight. Amelia Spark being held in the claws of a giant metallic spider. How did it get on the ship? How did it get to her interstellar space quarters? He had no time to find out. He had to stop it. For more steamy outer space romance action, check out next week's edition of Voyageur Squadron 14.
What's it called?
Guys, it's still recording.
I love Nolan.
Shut up, you big sacks of dump. Do other things good.